Imagine driving for 40 years without a single fine, then suddenly being told you need a medical test just to stay on the road. That's what thousands of Australians over 60 are now facing. Let's talk about what's really changing. If you want to stay ahead of all the latest news on Centrelink, age pensions, and retirement changes, and make sure you never miss a payment update, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. I post clear, no-nonsense explanations and tips that actually help you keep more money in your pocket. Join our community and be the first to know about every important change that affects your pension. Today's topic is one that's affecting thousands of Australians, especially those aged 60 and over. The driving laws for older Australians are changing, and these changes are going to impact how you renew your license, what medical tests you'll need to pass, and how long you can legally stay on the road. Whether you're approaching your 60s or helping a parent navigate these updates, this video will break everything down clearly, so you understand what's coming and how to prepare. We'll cover the reasons behind the reforms, what they actually mean in each state, and how they'll affect everyday drivers. So stick around till the end, because I'll also share practical tips to stay compliant, safe, and independent on the road. Let's start with why these changes are happening in the first place. Across Australia, transport authorities are tightening the rules around older drivers to balance two very real challenges: maintaining independence for seniors while also ensuring road safety for everyone. Studies have shown that while older drivers are among the safest and most experienced on the road, age-related changes like slower reaction times, declining eyesight, and certain medical conditions can increase risk. Governments are responding to these realities by introducing more consistent national standards and more frequent medical oversight to ensure that every driver behind the wheel is fit and capable. Now, the first thing to understand is that Australia doesn't have one single rule for everyone. Each state and territory manages its own licensing system, so what applies in New South Wales might be quite different from what happens in Queensland or Western Australia. But despite the differences, there's a clear trend. Once you hit your 70s, expect more regular health and medical checks before you can renew your license. And once you're in your 80s, those checks often become yearly and can include practical driving assessments. For drivers in their early 60s, the new laws won't change too much right away. You'll still renew your license normally, but you may start being asked to do simple vision checks. These tests are designed to catch early signs of visual decline, things like cataracts, macular degeneration, or reduced peripheral vision. Even if you feel your eyesight is fine, these tests can reveal issues before they become serious. If your doctor recommends further assessment, that recommendation now carries more weight than before. Medical professionals have a legal duty to report any conditions that could affect your driving ability. Once you turn 70, things become a bit more structured. In states like New South Wales, you'll be required to undergo a formal medical assessment to renew your license. That means visiting your GP for a full checkup. They'll look at your eyesight, your reflexes, your mobility, and even your cognitive health. In other words, how well your brain processes information while driving. If your doctor spots potential issues, you might need to take a practical driving test, or you might be granted a conditional license that restricts where or when you can drive. Once you reach 75, the requirements increase again. In Queensland, for example, every driver aged 75 or older must carry a current medical certificate that proves they're fit to drive. That certificate is valid for 1 year, meaning you'll need to renew it annually. Western Australia also requires annual medical checks from age 80 onward, while New South Wales introduces the possibility of mandatory practical driving assessments after 85. So as drivers age, the process becomes more frequent and more personalized. The focus shifts from just checking age to monitoring health and performance on an individual basis. Let's go around the country for a quick snapshot. In New South Wales, drivers from age 70 need a medical assessment at Renewal. From age 85, you'll also need to pass a practical driving test every 2 years, unless you choose to restrict your license to local areas only. In Queensland, once you hit 75, you must always carry that medical certificate I mentioned. In Western Australia, the system becomes stricter at age 80. That's when annual medicals are required, and the Department of Transport may request a driving test depending on your health. The ACT focuses on medical exams for heavy vehicle licenses starting at 70, while South Australia uses self-assessment forms for drivers 75 and above, with doctors stepping in if there are any red flags. Victoria and Tasmania take a slightly different approach. They don't impose medicals purely based on age, but if a doctor reports a medical condition that affects driving, you'll be assessed right away. And finally, in the Northern Territory, the rules are more relaxed, but drivers are encouraged to self-report any health issues and undergo vision tests every 5 years. Now let's talk about what happens during a medical assessment. It's not just a quick checkup, it's a structured process designed to ensure safety without unfairly penalizing older drivers. Your doctor will start by reviewing your medical history. They'll ask about medications, chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or arthritis, and any recent surgeries. You'll usually complete a vision test to assess how clearly you see and whether your peripheral vision meets driving standards. They'll check your reflexes, muscle strength, and coordination. In some cases, a simple cognitive screening may be done, not a full memory test, but a brief evaluation to make sure your attention and reaction times are safe for driving. If you pass everything, great, your doctor will sign off that you're fit to drive. But if they have concerns, they can recommend extra steps. Sometimes that means getting a specialist report from an optometrist or neurologist. In other cases, the Transport Authority may ask you to complete a practical driving test with a certified assessor. That test isn't like the one you took when you were 17. It's shorter, more focused on observation, decision-making, and physical control of the vehicle. If you pass, you keep your license. If not, you might be given a restricted license or be asked to take a break from driving. The key point here is that these changes aren't meant to take away independence. They're meant to make sure that every driver, regardless of age, can safely operate their vehicle under real-world conditions. For most people, it's just another routine check, like renewing your passport or updating your health insurance. But for those with serious health issues, it can become more complicated. Some drivers find themselves having to report conditions like seizures, sleep apnea, or cognitive decline. In fact, failure to report a significant health condition that affects driving can now lead to fines, license suspension, or insurance complications if you're involved in an accident. Let's talk about the emotional side for a moment. Losing your license, or even facing the possibility, can be incredibly stressful. For many Australians, driving represents freedom, connection, and independence. It's how we visit family, do our shopping, or simply enjoy the outdoors. That's why authorities are working to build a balance, protecting safety without taking away autonomy. Conditional licenses, for example, allow many seniors to keep driving within safe limits, maybe only during daylight or within a certain distance from home. It's not a punishment, it's a compromise designed to keep you mobile and safe. So, what can you do to prepare? The first step is awareness. Don't wait until renewal time to learn about the new rules. Visit your state or territory's transport website now and read up on the age-based requirements. Book your medical appointments early, especially if you know your renewal is coming up. Keep your health records organized and stay in regular contact with your GP. If you wear glasses or hearing aids, make sure they're up to date and in good condition. If you've noticed any change in your reaction times, mobility, or confidence behind the wheel, consider booking a voluntary driving assessment. These assessments are supportive, not punitive. They're designed to give you constructive feedback and help you keep driving longer. Another powerful thing you can do is focus on your physical and mental fitness. Regular exercise, good sleep, and a balanced diet all help you stay sharp and coordinated on the road. Keep your eyes checked every year. Stay socially active and mentally engaged. Research shows that active seniors tend to have better driving awareness and reaction times. Driving is a complex task that involves vision, focus, memory, and coordination. The healthier you are, the more confidently you can demonstrate your fitness to drive. Of course, not everyone will find this process easy. Some rural and remote Australians don't have easy access to medical professionals or testing centers. For them, the new rules could feel like an extra burden. There's also the cost factor. Medical certificates and specialist reports can add up, especially for those on fixed incomes. Critics argue that the system risks unfairly targeting older Australians, especially those who have driven safely their entire lives. And there's a concern that age alone shouldn't determine a person's ability to drive, that we should focus on actual fitness and ability, not just birthdays. These are fair criticisms, and it's a conversation worth having. The goal should always be fairness, safety, and dignity. If you ever feel that your assessment was unfair or that you were treated unjustly, remember that you do have rights. You can appeal certain decisions, request second opinions, or ask for a restricted license instead of full cancellation. It's important to advocate for yourself, because driving is about more than just getting from A to B. It's about independence, confidence, and connection. To put all this into perspective, let's look at a few real-world examples. Margaret is 72 and lives in Sydney. She has mild blood pressure issues but manages them well. She completes her medical assessment, passes her vision test, and her doctor clears her without restrictions. John, on the other hand, is 78 and lives in Brisbane. He's recently been diagnosed with early macular degeneration. After his checkup, his doctor recommends a driving test. John passes, but his new license restricts him to driving only during daylight hours. Then there's Alice, 82, in Perth. She's in great shape overall, but has to do annual medicals. During her latest one, her doctor notices slower reaction times and refers her for a specialist assessment before renewal. These scenarios are becoming more common, and they show how flexible but thorough the system can be. The bottom line: if you or someone you love is approaching 60, now's the time to get ahead of these changes. Don't wait until the renewal letter arrives in the mail. Talk to your doctor, book that eye test, and stay informed. It's not just about keeping your license. It's about keeping your freedom safely. And remember, driving is a privilege that depends on your health, not just your age. The more proactive you are, the longer you can keep enjoying that independence. If this video helped you understand what's changing, hit that like button to help it reach more people, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. I'll be covering these driving reforms as they roll out state by state with real examples and practical advice. Leave me a comment below and tell me what state you're in and whether you think these rules are fair. Thanks for watching, stay safe, drive smart, and I'll see you in the next video.